The word that comes to mind when I think about Jesus is powerful.
Kind.
I think about the word peace.
Loving and caring.
Life, because he sacrificed his life to give us ours.
Is Jesus God, or is God Jesus, or are they the same person?
What's it like being the most powerful person to ever walk on earth?
What did he do on his downtime?
Why does he love us so much?
He's a person who loves and cares for me.
My role model.
A very safe place to talk to.
Jesus is a friend.
If I'm dealing with anything, I know I can go to him and he'll help me through it.
Hey junior highs, it's me, Leader Steph. Welcome to Sunday mornings. Happy that you're here, happy that you're joining us online. If you are, put your name in. I wanna know who you are. We wanna know. We're in the chat. The chat is live. Don't just think you're clicking on this video like another YouTube video. We want you to communicate with us. We are in our last and final week of the series, Who is Jesus? Where we are learning about who Jesus is really, what does he tell us, and also that it's really okay for us to have questions about our faith. When you have questions about your faith, you actually get stronger in your faith because you're asking those really hard questions. And so that's what we've been learning this whole month. And this is our last week. I want to ask you guys a question. And you can put it in the chat. Here's the question. Do you guys have a person or a sibling that really gets you? Like without words, they understand you so well. They just get you. They're like that best friend, or they're your sibling that's you're so close to. Do you guys have that in your life? For me, it's my friend Alana. Alana and I have been friends since high school, and it was kind of weird how we became friends. She was my best friend's girlfriend, and I didn't really think, I knew her, but I didn't know her that well. And when they started dating, her and I got really, really close, to the point now where she's more of my best friend than my first best friend. We just get each other. We have very similar life experiences. We have very similar pasts. And so I can call up Alana anytime and know that she is there. And sometimes I don't even have to use words. She knows how I'm feeling. If she knows what I'm going through, she knows. And she also knows exactly what she needs to say to me to get me out of the rut, or if I'm sad, to make me happy. It's really awesome to have someone like that. Now, you might be knowing where I'm going with this. We are at church after all. So I want you to think about that person. Think about how close you are to that human, and think about that close bond that you have with that person while we're watching today's story. Because today's story, we're gonna talk about another person, you probably know who wants to be just as close, if not closer, to you. So I'll see you when we get back.
Hey friends, I'm Stuart. Now, I want to know this. How many of you have someone in your life that just gets you? You know, that friend who understands you without a word, that sibling who always knows what you're thinking, that person in your life who you know you can be yourself around, no questions asked. For me, it was always my friend Kyle. Actually, I became really close to him in middle school because whenever I would ask my parents to go over to somebody's house, I would ask about this friend and they'd say, no, you can't, or this friend, and no, you can't. But anytime I asked about Kyle, they would always say yes. And I think it's because maybe they were friends, or my parents were friends with his parents, and his parents were the same thing, that they would always say yes to him coming over. So what happened was we just started hanging out. We hung out more and more, and before you knew it, we were completing each other's sentences. No. Seriously though, it was so nice because I feel like even if I was making bad decisions or something, he was somebody who I could just tell about it and he just got me. So in my case, Kyle really understood and got me. But have you ever thought about Jesus being somebody who gets us too? Isn't he living up in heaven where everything is perfect? Well, today we're gonna talk about who Jesus is to all of us, and that's somebody who understands. Now, let me just address another really obvious question here. How can a guy who lived thousands of years ago understand anything about what me and you, are going through today? Which is a great question. I mean, what does Jesus really know about any of the things that we struggle with today? Did any of his friends say they were too busy to hang out with him and then post pictures when they were hanging out with other people? Did he ever get called on in class and blurt out an answer that was super embarrassing? Did he ever get cut from the team? Did his classmates ever make fun of him? Did his parents ever get divorced? Did his siblings fight with him all the time? All the time. Anyway, maybe you can relate to some of those things, or maybe what you're dealing with feels different. Maybe it feels more difficult. Maybe it's something that nobody even knows. So let's be a little more specific. Close your eyes and think of one area in your life where you need someone to understand. Something in your world that you just wish someone else would get. The truth is, there's always going to be trouble somewhere in our lives. We're all gonna face it. And in those moments, we need someone who really gets us. But honestly, it doesn't always feel like Jesus is that someone. Maybe you found yourself wondering if God even notices or cares when you deal with trouble. When it comes to the hard stuff in life, how can Jesus be the one who understands if it doesn't even seem like he's there? Well, it might surprise you to know that while Jesus was on earth, he had plenty of experience with trouble. I know because his friends and followers took time to write down everything they saw Jesus say, do, and experience. So when we read about Jesus' life in the Bible, we're reading about real things that really happened to a real person who really lived. And the more that I read about Jesus, the more I get to know him. And for me, knowing Jesus changes everything. And what I've learned from getting to know more about Jesus is when it comes to trouble, he saw it all. I mean, have you been ditched by your friends? Yep, so has Jesus. Have you ever felt like everybody hates you? Jesus experienced that. Have you ever felt sad or alone? Jesus felt that. Ever been tempted or hungry or tired or angry or frustrated or hurt? Those are all things that Jesus dealt with too. And I don't know about you, but I don't always think about Jesus struggling or having troubles. Sometimes it's easy to forget that Jesus was a real person who had real life experiences and difficulties. Have you ever noticed how celebrities and people on TV seem to just have it all together? We usually see the amazing and incredible things with their life, right? It's like, take Superman, for example. That's right, Superman. I mean, this guy can fly and he can burn things with his laser eyes. And while Superman is super impressive, he also faced struggles in his life, like losing his parents and being totally weak when he's around kryptonite. It's so easy to think that because he's superhuman, that he would experience no worries or no troubles and no difficulties, but that's just not reality, is it? Somehow, in my mind, Jesus is kind of like that. He seems more like a Marvel superhero than a real, actual person with real, actual problems. But that's not the whole picture, because as much as Jesus was fully God, he was also fully human. So that means that when we experience trouble, he gets it. He's been there. And because of that, we can trust him not only to understand, but to help us through it. So let's start by looking at something Jesus said about the troubles that we might face in this life. A guy named John wrote down this statement that Jesus made to his friends. In this world, you will have trouble, but take heart, I have overcome the world. Okay, so let's look at the hard stuff first. One thing that's guaranteed in this life, trouble. It's a part of life. It's so much a part of life that Jesus made sure his followers knew it. That in this world, we will all have trouble. And that by itself is a bummer. But thank goodness, that is not where Jesus left it. See, when it comes to our troubles, it's not just that Jesus has been there, although he has. Here, Jesus says he's been there and conquered it. Like, superhero conquered it. That means Jesus not only gets how we feel, but he can help us deal with it. Sometimes he uses his people to support us. Sometimes he uses his word to help us find peace and comfort. Sometimes he uses his commandments to help us stay away from trouble. And sometimes he uses his spirit in our lives to make us stronger when we're facing tough times. And I don't know what that looks like in your life for the trouble that you're facing, but here's what I know for sure. No matter what it is, Jesus gets what you're going through and he can help. He wants to help. Does that mean that everything will always be easy? No, of course not. Will we never face trouble, never get left out, never lose a friend, never get hurt? Unfortunately, no. But remember, Jesus told us trouble was something that we could expect in this world, but that's not where the story ends. Because whatever we faced, Jesus has faced. And not just that, he's handled it, he's conquered it, and that means he can help us conquer it too. Think of it this way. Because of Jesus, you are never alone. I am never alone. When you face trouble, when you feel left out or misunderstood, when you're struggling with something that's bigger than what you can deal with alone, you've got Jesus, the friend who came to earth to experience it with you, the friend who understands, the friend who gets it, the friend who gets you, the friend who doesn't want you to do it alone. Remember, because of Jesus, you are never alone. Earlier, I asked you to think about one area of life where you're experiencing trouble. Maybe it's with your friends or at school or in your family or on your team. Maybe it's something only you know about right now. But whatever it is, as you think about that, I want to challenge you to try 3 things. First, talk to Jesus. Talk to Jesus about your troubles. Sometimes the word pray sounds so fancy that we don't even want to try it, right? Well, praying is just talking to Jesus. So this week, I want you to find a quiet place and just spend some time talking to Jesus about what's going on in your life. If you don't want to talk out loud, write it down. Type it on a note on your phone or just say it in your mind. No matter how you pray, Jesus is listening and he wants to be there for you no matter what you're going through. Next, talk to his people about your troubles. Have you ever had a real friend show up for you when you were down? I have. It always helps, right? A lot of times, Jesus uses his people to help us overcome what we're facing. That's one of the reasons we want everyone here to have a group and a leader that you can trust. When you're going through something, you don't have to go through it alone. In fact, one of the best things that you can do is to share that with your leader or your group so that they can encourage you and pray for you and check in with you. No matter how lonely, tough times may feel, you're never really alone. In fact, you may just find that Jesus shows up for you through the support and encouragement of your group. Lastly, be with others when they hurt. Remember Jesus' words. In this world, you will all have trouble. That means all of us. So there's a good chance that somebody near you, somebody in your group, or somebody in your house is going through something too. And maybe one of the ways that Jesus shows up for them is through you. This week, try checking in on your friends. Send a text, offer some encouragement, pray for them, pray with them. The truth is that when you show up for somebody who's hurting, it helps them see that they are never alone too. In middle school, it's so normal to feel like you're alone in whatever you're going through. Even if you're in a room full of people, it can feel like nobody gets you. That's why I think knowing Jesus can change everything. It can change how you feel, how you treat people, and even how you handle trouble or tough times. Remember, because of Jesus, you're never alone. Speaking of, what's up, Kyle?
Friends, because of Jesus, you are never alone. Let me say it again. Because of Jesus, you are never alone. Remember at the beginning of this, I was talking about my friend Alana, and we're really close. She really is my best friend. But Alana's not with me 24/7 days, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. She's just not. I can call her up most times if she's not working and I'm not working, and she's there for me, but she's not there always. Jesus is always there. He's always there. You're never alone. And sometimes we feel an overwhelming emptiness and an overwhelming loneliness. We feel like we are the only people in this world that are feeling this way, and we feel sad and depressed, and we're not really sure why. And I want you to know that you're never alone, that Jesus is always with you. Even if you can't sometimes feel him, you gotta trust that he's there. You have to trust that he's there and he loves you so, so much. So let's jump into our questions. I want you to respond in the chat below. The first question is this: how does having somebody in your life who really, really understands you make it better? The next question is this: how does it make you feel to know that Jesus experienced some of the exact same things that we experience today? How might believing that Jesus is with you help you in troubling situations? Junior highs, thanks so much for allowing me to journey with you. I had a blast talking about who Jesus is. I hope that through this Easter season, you lean in, and like I say every single week, you learn something different, something new about the Easter story, about who Jesus is, and about God's love. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'll see you later.